Hi and welcome to the first episode of YarnAdelaide. My name's Nicole and you can find me on Ravelry as Cola Girl or on Instagram as ColaGirl74. I live in the northeastern suburbs of Adelaide in South Australia. I'm a wife and mum of three, Silas, Elijah and Scarlett. And we have a dog and 3 rabbits as well. Me and my husband, or a family I guess, own a small fruit and veg shop in Tea Tree Gully, so that keeps us fairly busy. We've had that for about 5 years now, and yeah, we enjoy it. Some weeks the months are harder than others, but all in all, we manage to keep the doors open at the end of each month, so that's got to be a good thing. I'm also the current Vice President of the Hand Knitters Guild of South Australia, so we'll be talking a little bit about that as well and what's going on, because that's always a good thing. What I'll be talking about today is my current work in progress, and I've got a few finished objects, a couple of things that I did a while ago, but I'm quite proud of, so yeah. And what tickles my fancy, as in what's coming up or what I've bought in the way of products, yarn related and what have you. Yes, a lot of the time I have to kind of sneak them in, as I'm sure a lot of you will understand. And then I'll talk about what's going on at the guild and what has inspired me to cast on. Whether that happens or not is another thing, you know. It's kind of like colour and movement. I feel like Dory from Nemo sometimes and get the distraction fish happening, and that tickles my fancy, and then I just feel compelled to cast on. And then sometimes I just, not that happens very often, but sometimes I feel that, yeah, nothing is inspiring me, or I feel overwhelmed with what I need to do. At the moment I sort of am doing a few things for Christmas, so they've been small things, as summer is sort of come upon us quite a little bit early, as we've had a few hot days already and it's only late November, and yeah, it hasn't seen much rain or cooler days, although last week was fairly mild, and then like during the week, and then we had a few days the week before of it being bloody hot. So what I'm currently working on is, I started this, it's a memory blanket, or the mitered square blanket, and Georgie Harlem, I think her name is, did her pattern, and this is what I've got to so far. And it's basically using up, in 4-ply, using up leftover sock yarn, and being that my youngest little girl, she's only 15 months old, so I've been knitting her quite a few things, and she's had, and most of it's all done in 4-ply, being that she's still only little. And then the boys, I've knitted them a few socks and gloves and what have you, and then they generally tell me what colours they like and what have you. So this is designed to be, I guess, the memories of, not that, to have the memories of my children. So yeah, there'll be, like, so my eldest, Silas, he's the black, because he's 13, and yeah, starting to go through that teenage stage, and so everything along that diagonal will be him. And then we've got Elijah, and he likes his blues and greens, and when he was little he really loved yellow. He doesn't like it so much anymore, but I still keep insisting that he does like it. So yeah, there'll be a few yellows and what have you in there. And then we've got Scarlett. So yeah, I think I knitted her some booties out of that one and others, and I knitted her a really nice cute winter dress. That was a Debbie Bliss dress in one of her magazines. That, yeah, that was out of some Kathy's Fibres, her white gum wool 4-ply, which is really nice and soft and almost still feels lanolly to knit with. Yeah, and it's really, you notice the difference in the softness of it. So yeah, so some of the stuff that is in there has been relevant to what I've knitted the kids, but then a lot of it has been leftovers, but I've tried to keep it relevant to what their tastes are and what I see in them. I'm using my Knit Pick straights in 3.25, and I'm pretty sure Georgie's pattern only does the 20 stitches mitered squares, where I've done 30 because I wanted them slightly bigger. I'm not sure how big this is going to be, because it'll be the lounge room family winter blanket that we'll all fight over in the middle of winter, that we want to, on the Friday evenings when we all sit down and watch a movie, that we snuggle up on the couch with everybody. So yeah, that sort of comes and goes. I haven't knitted anything with it for a week or so, but then I'll knock off 10 squares in a few days because it'll tickle my fancy again, and it kind of keeps you interested because it doesn't take you too long to do a square and then you've got a different colour to play with. So yeah, that's always good, and it's really easy. And I try, and when I have been doing it, I'll try and sew in some ends of an evening, so it's progressive rather than leaving it all to the end, because that's what we all hate, is having to sew in the ends. Well, that's one of my pet hates anyway. And then what else I have been knitting is a beanie for Elijah's teacher for Christmas. It's a sock head hat, and I'm knitting that in the Bendigo luxury 4-ply. I think it's blue denim. The yarn was given to me. I belong to a couple of weekly knitting groups, and there's one that on a Monday night we did start at the Mawson Lakes Library, and then we ventured over to the Mawson Lakes Hotel, and they had a lounge area there where they had couches that we could sit on and stuff, and then they refurbished and moved the couches into the sports bar, and then it got a bit feral in there, and there were loud music, and then when there was boxing fights on, then the front bar would be full of people, and then they'd have, Mad Mondays after footy and cricket season and what have you. So we kind of found somewhere else in the end because it was just got out of control, and a few of the ladies preferred to sit on the couches for comfort and stuff, and which I get, and where most of the time we were quite happy. So, but currently, and then we've gone to a few other places, but currently we meet at the Modbury Hotel on a Monday evening, and I think it's in the lounge bar where we meet. So yeah, and anyway, the reason why I bring that up is one of the ladies that used to come to our group, she died a couple of years ago, and so once all her family sorted out her estate and what have you, they let us know, and we got to come in and choose. We basically divvied up what yarn she had and made a donation to the Cancer Council, and yeah, she did quite like the Bendigo. She used to be the moderator of the Bendigo Woolen Mills group. Nitty Catherine was her name, yeah, and so some of you might remember her, and yeah, so that's one from her, and yeah, she was a lover of the Bendigo Woolen Mills. Funny enough, when the luxury came out, she did a swap. There's some of the yarn that she did. She did a swap of kind of like mini skeins of all the new luxury colours, and she had a bag, and I got her bag of all her mini skeins of it, and yeah, so that a lot of that goes into my memory blanket as well, which is good, and it's the perfect amount as well, because there'll always be a little bit left over, so you can then do squares that end up being like that, so you really use up scraps of yarn, which is awesome, because I'm a bit of a miser like that I don't like to throw out the last little bit, unless there's only like about yay amount, then I can do that. And also what I have been knitting on is a shawl for my mum for Christmas. It's the Zaria shawl by Shannon Squire. It's in Nitty. I'm not sure when that... It's one from a couple of years ago, I think. And yeah, can you see that. Yeah, so it's an asymmetrical shawl that yeah, is one colour, and then it's got a lace panel through, and yeah, and then it's got the main colour again. So that's how far I've got. I'm using some Kathy's fibres again. She's a local indie dyer that is based in Lobethal up in the Adelaide Hills, and she goes to a spinners group, and I've got a customer that's become a friend from my fruit and veg shop that goes up there, and I quite often will message Kathy through Ravelry and say, can you have this, this and this, and Doreen will pick it up for me. And it's great, it's a great little way of doing it, and that way it saves on postage, and yeah, it's a good way to do it. But I need to look up what colour this is, so bear with me a minute. Stash. And the beige is paint nile, 4-ply paint nile. I've got the tag there. It is colour 9347, so it's a beige. Come on. My internet wants to be really slow again, which is annoying. And it doesn't help that it's a Sunday and the kids are home playing on the PlayStation. So they're usually playing online games or watching YouTube themselves. Where is it? I just go. This is really annoying, isn't it? I think her yarn, the yarn colourway is called Woodlands. Yeah, because it's got some nice greens and beige and oranges through it, and then it's got some speckle. I don't know whether you can see the speckle. Probably not. But it just adds a little bit of interest to it. I was going to use a Bendigo Luxury in the forest, but the green was a bit dark. It didn't really go... Well, it sort of did, but it didn't really pop, if that makes any difference. But with the beige, it just worked better. I think I was watching a podcast from Kristen from Skein Yarns, and she was talking about colour matching, like putting colours together. And she say when using multiple colours, go dark, light and bright. So I guess the dark, light and bright are in there, and then you've got the light again for the contrast, because the light is not heavy through the variegated yarn. So yeah, it was Kathy's Fibre Superwash Merino Nylon Sock Yarn in Woodlands. Yeah, so that's another one that I'm doing. I think that's basically about it of what I've got going at the moment. There is a cardigan that I'm doing, but I haven't done it for a while because I've done the body and it needs to pick up the stitches around the neckline, so that needs a bit of concentration, so it kind of gets put by the wayside, and where I just want to sit and methodically knit. So that's where that gets put down and something else gets picked up. So what I've got in the way of finished objects is I've got a cardigan that I entered it in the Raw Show this year. I usually like to enter stuff in the Raw Show each year. I think to me, the reason why I've done it is to keep the craft alive as such, and to keep it in the what's the word that I'm looking for? Just to keep it relevant. So, because I know you'd get feedback from the Royal Show Society going, numbers are down, and then I had noticed last year there wasn't as many classes, so you know, if you're not going to get, if it's going to die in popularity, it's not going to be there. So that, I guess, and it's not about, for me, it's not about being the best. It's me more about getting in and just competing. I don't compete to win. Where that it's more because I guess I used to ride horses and what have you, and I used to do eventing and what have you before having kids, so I wasn't competing against other riders as what per se. I was more competing against bettering myself and bettering and working together with my horse and what have you, and yeah, and bettering what I'd previously done, or bringing everything together of what I had been working on. So I guess that's where my thought process is to why I enter into the show. Well, and anyway, I did the, what did I call it? It is the saddleback cardigan. So that's the front. So it's got cables down either side. Nice big thick, what's it called? It'll come to me. And then it's got the back. So basically you start here, you knit the saddle, and because that goes that way, and then you pick up stitches along here and along the shoulders, and you knit down to the bottom of the armholes. Same again with the armhole shaping, and then you bring together and then you knit all in one. And then the sleeves are top down. So the construction of it is really amazing, and it fits really well considering there's no real seaming as such because you've all picked up stitches. I'm trying to think whether there might have just been a slight little bit of no, there wasn't. I can see that there wasn't. So there was absolutely no seaming at all, which is what I like to do, not to do, is sewing up. I've knitted a jumper for my husband a few years ago, and it sat in my cupboard for 12 months waiting to be sewed up. And yeah, that's how much I detest. It's not so much I detest it, I just put it off, because when I eventually get it out to sew up, I end up going, why did I procrastinate about this? It's not as bad as what I think it is. I just think it becomes a bit cumbersome, and it's something that you really can't take out and do on the go, because I do go out and knit in public quite a lot, so having smaller projects or projects that don't require too much, don't require too much thinking, are good to take out on the go, so that's always good as well. I'm just trying to find what I did, what the exact name of that project is. So I'm pretty sure it's the saddleback cardigan, and there we go. Saddleback cardigan by Jennifer Hagen. Yeah, it was in an interweave. As I say, it was from Interweave Knits in fall 2014. So yeah, and I really enjoyed that. But I am a sucker for cables. I do get the whole colour and movement thing when I see cables. I gravitate to that rather than colour work. Colour work, it doesn't really tickle my fancy. There are some things that I guess because it is growing in popularity with the colour work, I am starting to appreciate it, and I have been there are a few things in my queue that I go, well, maybe I'll give that a go. But I guess it requires more planning. And so it kind of gets put on the back burner. What I also have been doing, being that that my work in progress knitting the sock head beanie for Elijah's teacher. I've already knitted something I already had done for Silas's teacher, because I asked her a few weeks ago what her favourite colour was, and she said maroon, and then I said, what's your second favourite, and she said pink, and I was like, okay. And then I started looking through my stash of what I had that was maroon, and I didn't really have anything that was a real maroon. It was either a bit too purple or too brown. It wasn't really that red maroon. And even this, I don't know, yes it sort of is, but I can still see purple in it. But I knitted a few months ago, one of the weekly knitting groups I go to a knitting group in the Teacher Gully Library on a Friday, on Fridays, and we all knitted a hitchhiker. We did a bit of a knit along and we knitted a hitchhiker, and this was my hitchhiker. And I can't remember what yarn I knitted it on. I think it might have been a Koju. I think. Let me see if I can find it in my my projects on Ravelry. That might help. I don't even think I've even put it in my projects. Where is it? No. No, I haven't. I must take a photo of it and put it in my projects. And yeah, so that will be her Christmas present. And I think that's about it of what oh, there's a couple of things. I might save that for when I talk about Guild, which I'll talk about what has tickled my fancy, as in what things that I've bought and what have you. The Hills Spinners and Weavers that are up, I think they meet, how do they meet? Because I didn't go, my friend ended up getting it for me, so I knew she was going. They had an equipment day on Thursday where a lot of the spinners and weavers will sell off their second-hand stuff that they didn't want anymore, whether it's yarn or equipment and what have you. And I finally got myself a Swift. This is one from Ron Doley. He's a wheel. He makes spinning wheels and bits and pieces out of timber and what have you. He's a spinner, and I think he's taught many ladies over the years, because I think he's about 95. Yeah, and he makes these, and that was only $26. That's how, yeah. It's unstained, so I need to stain it, or probably more seal it, because it'll end up looking like it's been stained then, because if I just stain it, it will be sticky and then it'll come off all my yarn when I'm trying to wind that up. So yeah, and so yeah, I'm happy with that, because I was finding I'd put the hank or the skein of yarn on the back of a chair and wind it onto my wool winder, and by the end of it, it would be a knot, and then it'd take me 2 hours to unknot it all and get it wound up. So I finally bit the bullet and bought one. And yesterday, we had the Hand Knitters Guild yesterday. I had our Knit and Natter, and there's a new yarn stall on Unley Road. Now it's sort of a bit of a vintage place, and they've got some yarn for sale there, so I had a little bit of time up my sleeve, and I stopped in there and I bought some of this. It's a J-Wool Magic by Lang Yarns. It's the superwash sock. It's in that colourway. It is called, no, it's just got a number, 1309. It's really pretty. You can see some lavender, mauve and plums and greys, which is quite nice. And I was thinking either knit myself a sock head beanie, or what was I going to do? I was going to try funny, 2-3 weeks ago I was seeing shawls everywhere and going, oh, what's with all the shawls? I wasn't liking shawls, and then I thought maybe I'll knit a shawl for Mum for Christmas, and that's why I did the Zaria. And then now I want to knit myself a shawl, and I was thinking about the Aisling shawl by Justina from Let's Knit. I can't pronounce her surname, and yeah, so that's tickled my fancy. And then I've got with some prizes that I got from my entries at the show with a Royal Baby knits. I did the bubble shawl, the old vintage pattern. I got a second in that, and I got some grey. Got some grey. What's it called? The Peyton's baby. I can't remember what it's called, and I haven't got it here. I thought I was prepared for this, but I'm obviously not. Maybe I'll do it for next time. Yeah, and there's a grey in that, so I might pair it up with that and do that. Or I have favourited or put in my queue a couple of two-tone shawls and stuff that might go really nicely with that. It's a real darker grey, so yeah, that might work for me. Yeah, so that's all I've really got this week, which is pretty good for me. Usually I try not to buy because I have that much in my stash, but then, you know, you get that overwhelming urge and impulse and that sort of thing, so I'm sure you guys know how it is. Now, on to what's going on at the Guild. There's only one more meeting for the year, and that's our Christmas lunch, which is on Saturday, December. It's the first Saturday in December, and the date is, I'll tell you exactly, Saturday, December, come on, December the 5th. So yeah, we'll have our break-up lunch where everybody brings a plate, and yeah, and we just knit and chat like we usually do at most knit and natters, and we have a bit of an informal lunch. And this year we had our AGM in September, and we've got a new president, and she seems to have some gusto and wants to kind of take in the bull by the horns and has changed a few things, which is really good, and sort of trying to streamline things and have I guess a code of conduct of how things get done, and getting more people involved and being organised. So there's a couple of things that she's organised for the Christmas party, I guess, Christmas party that we're having. She's organised a hat competition where we come in with our Christmas hats, and we'll get a surprise, so I'll have to see what the kids have got in the way of Christmas hats and see if I can embellish it a bit more. And then we've got a competition on a one skein wonder, so we've got that knit something that we've used up to 100 grams of yarn of the one skein. So I've got two things that I want to enter, but I don't know which one I enter, and I think we're only supposed to enter one. I'll have to double check on that. So I've got this lace scarf that I've done. That was out of who was it? Malabrigo lace, and the colour is Night Sky. So it's got really dark navies to sort of medium navies, and it's got bits of purple through it as well. It's quite pretty. Yeah, can you see anything? See how it's slightly variegated? I am quite keen on semi-solid colours at the moment. Makes it quite understated. Yeah, so I've got that, or the princess bonnet that I knitted and entered it in the show. So Princess Charlotte bonnet, which was a free pattern they've got the slight cables around there. I think if you just put in Princess Charlotte on it, there's about 3 or 4 free patterns on there that you can download. And that was quite interesting to knit. Although the grafting at the back was, I had to improvise a little bit because I've done grafting before, but not grafting onto what is it, garter stitch. I've only done it onto stockinette stitch, so trying to keep it relevant so it still looked like it was the garter stitch was a little tricky, and it sort of took me a few days to get it right in my head before I started improvising on it. So yeah, so they're the couple of things that I might enter. So yeah, it should be good in what's happening. And then next year, usually we don't go back until February, but yeah, our president wants to have a knit and natter in January, so that will be on, what is it? It will be in January it's the 3rd Saturday of January, so it'll be January the 16th. So yeah, we usually meet from midday. We meet at the RSL Hall in Unley. That's on Arthur Street in Unley. It's just off Unley Road, near the Unley Road Shopping Centre. So yeah, we're all quite welcoming lot. There's always someone there that will help you if you're having trouble with your knitting and what have you. And yeah, young, old, it doesn't matter who you are, what you do. We'll all be your friend if you bring wool, basically. So yeah, usually we don't meet in January because it's a bit hot, but I think President's been listening to what people want, so listening to what her constituents have asked for, and so she's quite happy to make one in January. So yeah, I'm not sure whether I'll be able to go, but it's not for another couple of months yet anyway. So yeah, I think that's about it. I'll leave that for the time being, and I'll see how this comes through and see if I have to do much editing, which will be interesting, and see how it goes. You can you can contact me on Ravelry, of course. I'm Cola Girl. I also, I might use, if you want to join the Hand Knitters Guild of South Australia group, there is a group. I'm a moderator for it, so yeah, I think we might start some, depends on what happens, we might start some threads through there. There's a few ideas that I've got here that I might start planning on what to do about them, see how things go. And yeah, I think that's about it, and sort out what I want to do. Hope you guys have a good week. I plan to do another podcast probably in a week to a fortnight, see how we go, see how, being that we're getting closer to Christmas, I hope you guys are planning, getting all your knitting under control and not meeting a deadline of who to knit for. I was actually thinking about doing some the lacy coat hanger covers. I haven't done them for a few years, and there's always a couple of aunties that I end up doing a last minute gift for, and they'll get something that I made. Last year I got the library group that I go to, we got asked by the library whether we'd like to decorate a Christmas tree in hand knitted ornaments, and so we were all mad for about 2 weeks. We were all madly knitting, all the ladies madly knitting ornaments to go on this Christmas tree. And I found a crochet pattern for these snowflakes, and I got obsessed by them. I think I made about 50 of these crocheted snowflakes, and I made a heap for my tree. And I've got an auntie that she always buys something for the kids, and she likes knickknacks and vintage type things, and she loves her Christmas tree and decorations and what have you. And my uncle lives with her, and I messaged him and said, what colour's her tree? And he said this year's was pinks and greens, so I made these hot pink and these lime green snowflakes. I think I made about half a dozen of them and sent them off to her to put on the tree, and she loved it. And then I made some for my mum, and then I've got some for myself as well, so they get all colour coded onto the tree. Where, yeah, it's quite cute. My mum is really into the decorations as well, so she loved it, but she likes the burgundies and the traditional colours, like the what is it, the pine greens and the dark reds and that sort of thing, and the golds and what have you. So yeah, that was quite cute. So yeah, I hope you guys are all organised for Christmas. It's not that far away. I think it's probably only about another 4 Fridays, if that, which is a bit scary. Yeah, I hope the Christmas shopping is all under control and the knitting is giving you some zen time. Have a good week and stay cool. See ya.